Japan just shocked the world with what they're building. But here's what most people still don't understand. While everyone talks about China, Silicon Valley, and the next AI boom, Japan has been doing something quieter, stranger, and maybe even more important. They are not just building faster trains, smarter cars, or better robots. They are building a country where machines fill the gaps left behind by humans. This is not some anime dream. This is Japan's real plan. And once you see what they are putting together, you will realize something. Japan is not stuck in the past. It is quietly building the next version of everyday life. Let me start with something that sounds like science fiction. Imagine a whole city built not for people to simply live in, but for experiments. That is exactly what Toyota has done with Woven City, a real-life test town near Mount Fuji. It officially launched in September 2025 on the site of an old Toyota factory, with hundreds of residents first and a plan to grow to around 2,000 people. But here's the crazy part. This is not a normal city. It is a giant laboratory, a place where autonomous vehicles, robots, AI systems, hydrogen energy, smart homes, and futuristic mobility can be tested around real people every single day. Think about that for a second. Most companies test robots in clean labs. Japan is putting them into a living city, a place where children cross streets, elderly people need help, deliveries have to arrive, and machines have to make real decisions. Toyota calls it a test course for mobility, but it feels more like a preview of how cities might work when computers become the invisible layer underneath everything. And if you think a robot city at Mount Fuji is wild, wait until you see what Japan is doing with trains. Japan already gave the world the bullet train, but now they are building something that makes normal high-speed rail feel slow. The Chuo Shinkansen uses superconducting magnetic levitation. That means the train floats above the track and moves forward without traditional wheels touching the rail. In testing, Japan's maglev hit 603 kilometers per hour. Commercial service is designed for around 500 kilometers per hour. Here's the mind-blowing part. Once it accelerates, the train lifts itself about 10 centimeters above the guideway. No contact. Less friction, just magnets, tunnels, and insane engineering. It is like Japan looked at the airplane and said, "What if we brought that speed back down to Earth?" But Japan is not just thinking about trains. They are also thinking about the sky above the city. At Expo 2025 in Osaka, Japanese startup SkyDrive showed its electric flying car, the SDO5. This is not a fantasy drawing. It is a real eVTOL aircraft, powered by batteries, built with 12 electric motors and rotors, designed to take off and land vertically with a pilot and 2 passengers inside. Its planned cruise speed is around 100 kilometers per hour. It does not need a runway. It rises like a drone, but carries people like a tiny air taxi. Imagine being stuck in Osaka traffic, and instead of waiting an hour, you step into a small electric aircraft that lifts straight up from a vertiport. That is the vision, not replacing every car, but creating a new layer of short-distance air travel for cities, islands, emergencies, and places where roads are too crowded or too slow. But maybe the most Japanese part of this story is what they are doing with convenience stores. Because in Japan, even buying a rice ball can become a preview of the future. At 7-Eleven's Expo 2025 stores, customers could be helped by a remote-controlled avatar robot called New Me. The operator does not have to stand in the shop. They can be in another room while the robot moves through the store and talks to customers through a screen. Sounds simple? It is not. It is a new idea of work. A cashier does not have to physically be behind the counter. A disabled person could work from home. A worker in another city could help customers in a store that is short on staff. Japan is not just automating workers away. In some cases, it is turning human workers into digital ghosts. And the reason Japan is moving this fast is not just because it loves gadgets. It is because Japan has a problem most countries will eventually face. There are not enough workers. The population is aging. Rural towns are shrinking. Care homes need staff. Farms need hands. Stores need night workers. Hospitals need nurses. So Japan is building machines not because it wants a colder world, but because it may not have enough people to keep the current one running. That is where AI-REC comes in. Researchers in Japan are developing AI-powered care robots that can do things like help move patients, cook simple food, and fold laundry. That might not sound as flashy as a flying car, but think about what it means. Lifting a person safely from a bed is one of the hardest jobs in elderly care. It takes strength, timing, trust, and extreme care. If a robot can help with that, it could protect both the patient and the worker. This is not ready to replace nurses tomorrow, but that is exactly why it matters. Japan is testing the future before the crisis gets worse. A society full of older people cannot run on inspirational speeches. It needs hands. And if human hands are disappearing, Japan is trying to build mechanical ones. And some of those hands are becoming terrifyingly human. At the University of Tokyo, researchers have found a way to attach engineered living skin tissue to robotic surfaces. Not rubber, not silicone, living skin. They even created a small robot face that could form a smile by stretching lab-grown tissue over a mechanical base. The goal is not just to make creepy robots. Living skin could someday repair itself, sense the environment, and make robots safer around humans. Here's what is unbelievable. The researchers used structures inspired by the way human skin attaches to the tissue underneath it. They created tiny anchor points so the living material could stay attached, even when the robot moved. In the future, robot skin might include nerves, sweat glands, blood vessels, and sensors. That means the robot of the future may not feel like cold metal. It may feel warm and alive. Now let's move from the lab to the operating room. Japan has already built its own robotic surgery system called Hinotori. It was the first made-in-Japan robotic-assisted surgery system approved in the country. The name means firebird, and it was designed to reproduce the tiny, sensitive movements of a surgeon's hands using robotic arms. Imagine a surgeon sitting at a console, looking through a high-definition 3D viewer, while robotic arms translate tiny hand movements inside the patient's body. The goal is smaller cuts, more precision, less physical strain on doctors, and safer surgery in tight spaces. This is where Japan's industrial robot history becomes medical. Factory robots are becoming medical robots. But Japan's future is not only inside hospitals and cities. It is also in the fields. Japanese farming is facing the same problem as Japanese care homes. The workers are getting older. There are fewer young people to replace them. So companies like Kubota are building autonomous tractors, robotic rice transplanters, and smart farm machines. Japan's government says Kubota's Agri-Robo series had around 700 machines shipped and working on farms by 2024. These machines can help plant, harvest, and manage fields with far less human labor. And at Expo 2025, Kubota showed future platform robots designed for fully autonomous, data-driven agriculture. The idea is simple, but huge. One farmer could manage more land with machines that drive themselves, analyze data, spray precisely, and reduce waste. In a country where entire villages are aging, that could be the difference between farms disappearing and farms surviving. But here is where the story gets even stranger. Japan is even building robot wolves. As bear encounters increase in rural areas, a company in Hokkaido saw demand surge for a device called Monster Wolf. It has glowing red eyes, motion sensors, a rotating head, and speakers that blast frightening sounds to scare wild animals away. It looks like something from a nightmare, but for farmers, golf courses, and rural workers, it can be a tool for survival. Only Japan could take a wildlife problem and answer it with a robotic wolf that screams in the dark. Japan's future does not always look like shiny chrome and glass towers. Sometimes, it looks like a fake wolf standing in a rice field because a village has too few people to guard itself.